Genetic traits are characteristics of an organism primarily controlled or influenced by a combination of genes and environmental factors. When we look at the natural world, we see an incredible variety of traits, from eye color to a person's height. But how do biologists actually categorize these differences? To understand this variation, biologists classify traits into 4 distinct categories based on how they vary and how we measure them. Today, we're going to take a brief look at these genetic traits. The first type is qualitative or classical Mendelian traits. These are easily classified into distinct categories, like the color of a flower being red or white. They are controlled by one or a few genes, with little to no influence from the environment. Using these traits, George Mendel discovered the principles of heredity. These traits are commonly analyzed using ratios and counts. Second, we have quantitative traits, also called metric characters. Unlike qualitative traits, these traits don't fit into neat boxes. Instead, they form a continuous spectrum of phenotypes that blend together. Think of attributes like human height, body weight gain, and milk or egg production. These traits are controlled by many genes, with each gene contributing a small effect and significantly influenced by environmental factors. Because of this, their inheritance cannot be studied using simple Mendelian ratios. Since these traits are amenable to measurements, scientists study them using statistical methods like mean and standard deviation. Third are Meristic or countable characters. These are traits that are counted rather than measured, resulting in distinct classes similar to qualitative traits, such as the number of vertebrae in a fish or the number of leaves on a plant. Although these traits appear as distinct, countable categories, their inheritance is actually more similar to complex quantitative traits than to simple Mendelian traits. Finally, we have binary or threshold traits. At first glance, these traits appear qualitative, only has 2 classes, such as being affected or not affected by a disease. However, they are actually inherited just like continuous traits. The key concept here is something called liability. Liability is an underlying continuous scale influenced by both genes and environmental factors. When this hidden liability remains below a certain threshold, the individual appears normal. But once it crosses that threshold, the individual expresses the trait. To summarize, qualitative traits are characters of kind with discontinuous variation and single gene effects, analyzed by counts and ratios. Quantitative traits are characters of degree with continuous variation and polygenic control, analyzed using statistical methods like mean and standard deviation. In our next video, we are going to dive deep into the world of quantitative traits to see how dozens of genes and the environment work together to shape who we are. See you there!